Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the main stage of MEGAMIGS 2020. Right now, we're going to have our panel. The panel is going to be building and managing teams in 2020. So you know, if you're new here on the main stage, I'm Carl-Edwin Michel. I am the founder and CEO of Northern Arena. We do everything esports and gaming. We do tournaments. We also have TV shows on broadcast, and I am the creator and the executive producer of the Canadian Game Awards. We had our 2020 award this year, and it was different, obviously. But if you want to have the chance to take a look at it, go on the virtual booth. You'll be able to see everything that we do, but also the Game Awards. So we're gonna have an amazing panel, amazing people to talk about managing teams in 2020. I want to introduce them to you. So first, we're gonna have Chelsea Blasko, co-CEO at Iron Galaxy. We have Dan Bernardo, CEO and game director at Playtra Games. Sabrina Carmona, executive producer at King, and Oskar Guilbert, CEO at Dontnod. So hi everyone, how's it going?
Hi.
Good.
Hi.
Nice nice to have
Thank you.
Before we start with the questions, I think what would be really cool is for you guys to introduce yourself a little bit, just so we know a little bit more about you. So would love to start with Chelsea Blasko, co-CEO at Iron Galaxy. Please give us a little insight of who you are.
Sure. Hi, I'm Chelsea Blasko. I'm the co-CEO at Iron Galaxy Studios. We've been around since about 2008, August 15th, 2008, actually. And we're mostly work for hire studio. We do a lot of tech work. We do a lot of porting work. We also work on our own IP. I've been in the game industry myself for about 15 years. I started in production. I started out at EA Chicago and they were around. Then I went to another independent studio and I've been with Iron Galaxy for just over 10 years now. I started in production at Iron Galaxy as well and became a game director. Then I started doing basically all of the internal business stuff that no one else really wanted to do. And Dave, our founder, he was kind of the external face of Iron Galaxy and our biz dev. And now I'm the co-CEO with Adam Boyes.
Fantastic. That's great. Dan Bernardo, please give us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Dan Bernardo, and I am the founder and CEO and game director of Playtra Games, a small studio here in London. I'm actually, my career path was really unorthodox. I'm an anthropologist initially. Then I went to graphic design, creative direction, and then I built my career in the tech industry. 2 years ago, I decided that it's time to go to gaming, time to fulfill my dream and vocation. And I was like, it's gonna be easy. I'm just gonna start a new company. And what I did, Playtra started 2 years ago. Started just myself and my co-founder, and then now we are 9 people working on our first game called Grid Fight. The name is not very, deep, but the story is a story about this universe of all female characters. And you have a demo in Steam, and the game's going to be out beginning of next year if everything goes well. I think for me it was important to get into the game industry because I thought, like, I've been building teams for more than 20 years, and I knew that these skills will be transferable, and I've been doing this since.
Cool. Well, great introduction. So Sabrina, please give us a little bit of yourself.
Hi. So yeah, I'm Sabrina Carmona. I am the head of Farm Hero Saga at King. I've been working with games for a little bit more than 10 years now. I'm originally from Brazil, and I did a little bit of everything. I started there, obviously. I had my own studio. I've lived in 6 different countries across the globe working with video games, and I've landed at King 4.5 years ago. Started in Stockholm, where everything started, where Candy Crush was created, and etc. And I've moved to London 2.5 years ago, and now I'm leading our 3rd biggest game. Farm has made over $1 billion and has millions of daily plays. And I mean, I'm super proud of the work that we've been doing and the teams that we've been building. So I've done a little bit of everything, done work for hire, done console, done web, and now I've been with mobile for some time. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Oskar?
Hey, I'm Oskar Guilbert, and I'm CEO of Dontnod. I founded the studio in 2008, so 12 years ago now, long time ago. We started with one game, Remember Me, then created Life is Strange and developed Life is Strange, one of our biggest title. Then Vampire, an action RPG game, Life is Strange 2. Tell Me Why more recently, and we release a new game 1st of December, Twin Mirror. They are all narrative games. Some are episodic, some are not. And we also just started a new studio in Montreal. So I'm really happy to attend MEGAMIGS with this year, and to talk to people from Montreal. So yeah, and in Montreal, what we will do, we'll create a new IP. We will set up a new team. There, what we did, we split the Life is Strange team in two. So there will be two people from the people from the core team of Life is Strange who will start this studio in Montreal, and we'll also hire, of course, other people from Canada. Yeah, sure.
Fantastic, fantastic. This is great, a great group of panelists. So before we start with, I'm going to start with my first question. I just want to make sure that if you do have questions, the audience, obviously, if you do have questions, please use the Q&A section on the side, and you'll be able to ask your questions. And obviously, we'll do my best to ask the questions to our panelists. But we would like to start with, I would like to start with the first question. And the first one is, what are the challenges of managing a game studio in these troubled times? And I don't know who wants to start, but then I can maybe start with Oskar.
So if you mean in the epidemic,
yes,
how we work in this environment? Yeah, of course. Yeah, we have in our industry. I think we have the chance to almost all of our teams have the chance to work from home, and to have all the necessary conditions to do a very good from home. So I would say from the organizational point of view, it was not so difficult to put in place, to send people at home, send them computers, send them consoles and dev kits to allow them to develop the game from home. The big challenges from our point of view was more how to be sure that people talk together, that they can exchange, they can create together things and not feel alone at home. So there's a lot of work in terms of HR, in terms of team management, producers, etc. They have, I think, the most difficult time during this very difficult times for many people. So yeah.
Thanks.
That's what I say. The challenges were HR and producing.
Cool. Maybe Sabrina, you can say a little, what you think about those challenges of managing a studio in the COVID, I guess, situation.
Yeah, of course. I'm based in London, like I said, so we are on our second lockdown, and I think at King, it's always been like a benefit when you join King to be part of the studio. You go to the office, and we have our own building, and it's incredible. And you have a bunch of things, and it's very easy for us to work with each other. And even though we have several locations and we have a bunch of meetings online, that was always that feeling of let's go brainstorm in a room, let's move a post-it from to do to done, all of that physical contact. And when you go into lockdown, everyone going home, I mean, we sent computers and all the devices that we needed to be able to work, but there was that, just like Oskar said, there was some adjustment on the process that we needed to do. All of a sudden, we had to understand how do we best spend our time, because if you're like me, your entire day is in a call. You sit down in front of your computer, exactly like I am here. This is where I work. And I spend the whole time in front of the laptop in a call with people, and usually the same people over and over again. So I think my team did an immense work on trying to work collaboratively. How do we communicate better? What kind of meetings are essential? Which meetings can be emails? What are tools that we need to use? So we reinvented certain tools. We could move post-its from one side to the other anymore. We didn't have a board that everyone could see where the release is coming. So we had to make sure that everything was visible and transparent. And then I think at the same time, for me as a leader of a team, it was important that people felt safe. I think besides getting the builds out to play the new levels, I was very concerned about people's safety and mental health. How do I support them from afar? How do I make sure that they have different resources? They have professionals to talk to. They have the right people, because we are from across the world. Like my family doesn't live here, and lots of people that work in pharma at King are expats that are not originally from here. So how do we give them support networks? How do we make sure that they have the time that they need? And how do we update our benchmark? Like we couldn't measure success in it, for example, the same way that we did when we were in the office. So we had to understand what our productivity lies, where do we need to give a little bit more love, where do we need to give a little bit more attention, how do we make that bridge between what we thought it was good in the perfect conditions and what is good now that we're all remote. And I mean, we have been since early March. I think now we have a check-in every 2 weeks to see how people are doing. That's one of the things that we started to do. And it's incredible to see how productivity increase, how they feel better because they get used to the new environment, and we find different solutions to problems that we couldn't predict. But there was a moment there that my main job was to see if everyone had desks and chairs. So I never thought in my career that I would be having meetings in my bedroom now, and a list of them to check if they had the right chair. But here we are, right? So I guess it's important that if you're managing a team from afar, that you consider that. You consider breaks are different. Like you don't walk from a meeting room to another anymore. You don't have that change of context or scenery. You're here and you take another call, and you take another call, and you take a Slack message, and you take an email. So we have to set an example by being different in the way we approach and how we spend our time.
Yeah, no, that's great answer there. Dan, what was the challenges on your part?
I think for us, I think Playtra is in a very different stage than my colleagues in panel. So we are beginning of creating our own identity and our own company culture, and what are our daily rituals and how we go about with them. So not being close is really a bummer. That is something about. I mean, I know there are lots of great pieces of entertainment and art but being made remotely, but there's something magical when you have more than one person in the room. When you can automatically see not only in the text, but what the people's reactions if your idea is great or if your idea is bad. Like that is this non-verbal component of our interactions that is lost with, with the distance. For us, we had to adjust, but I think the main adjust that we made was to allow each other to to be a bit invasive into the colleagues' routine. So a few very simple things like you don't ask before you call. So you're always open, like you spend some time talking about non-work things. We have things that we do outside work. It's a small team, so in a small team in the beginning of a company, you cannot have any passengers. And if you get by yourself at your home and then the doorbell rings and then you start talking to your partner and then things, it's not about productivity, it's about connection, right? And how you get this connection alive. I think that there is a big difference, but I think the one thing that makes me very happy is that when you have a meeting in the morning and we have our meeting in the afternoon, we have a laugh and we have our in jokes and things still move very, very nicely. So this whole situation really hurts company culture and probably is the biggest commodity in a small company is company culture, but it didn't kill it. We're still there and we're going to go through this, I'm pretty sure.
That's great. Chelsea, on your side, what was those challenges?
Yeah, I think I really echo a lot of what everyone else in the panel is saying. Obviously, we had challenges getting everyone's equipment home. In Chicago, not everyone has a car, so making sure that we had ride share and other things to make sure people's computers got home safely, to make sure we had all of our security in order for all of our partner projects. One of the challenges I faced was just a bit of fear, right? Trying to maintain 2 offices and trying to make sure that I'm making the right decisions for Illinois and Florida to keep everyone safe, like Sabrina said. So I did feel a lot of weight of that. There wasn't a lot of guidance here in the US in particular for us. So a lot of it you had to figure out on your own. So that was definitely a challenge. I would say that most of the challenges have really been emotional, because every single person on the team is going through something right now. People didn't ask to work from home. We sent them home. They had to go home and work. They're stuck in their homes. So we try to make the remote work life a place of comfort for people. We host listening sessions. We really try to work with people and meet them where they are now and where their struggles are. And also, I think they're, like other people spoke of, I never really thought about all of the logistics involved. If a graphics card goes down or we need something, we have to be shipping those things. We have to get the kits. We have to move things if one project starts and another begins. So there are a ton more logistics involved than I ever really thought about before having all these remote offices.
And that's a great segue, actually, because my next question was about technical challenges. So do the technical challenges of developing a game remotely affect your way of managing your team? Does that delay games and stuff like that? So I would love to hear about you guys, hear about you guys and just talk about those technical challenges. And maybe I can start with you, Dan. As a a small studio, did that affect your team, I guess, projects?
Yes, the technical part of trying to, again, the scale is smaller, right? But you still have as a small team, you have to do everything. All my team, everybody from my team have more than one job description. We do more than one thing at the same time. We cannot afford specialization at this point, which means that there are a few tasks that more than one person has to be doing at the same time, and this causes delays and this causes problems. Like level designer and graphic artists, they have to work together in something specific, and it's always very complicated to do something like that. What I try to do is I try to keep our studio open for people who can go there 1 or 2 people, of course, following all the rules that happen here in the UK, and give them as much the equipment and time and resources that they need. But there's this part of QA and testing the game and trying to say if the game is, especially a game like ours, that is like a multiplayer game, there's no online, you need people in the same room doing this. And this, of course, delays things. What helped us a lot was our community. They came and they tested and they sent feedback, and this helped a lot. Other than this, I think, just like everybody said, there is urgency in a small team that's doing something like that to, oh, let's just forget about it. Let's just go to studio. And like, today we're going to be able to do this. It's just one day. And you have to say, no, you're not going to do that because your safety is the most important thing for us right now. So trying to keep my team with a cool mind and say, delays happen. It's not the end of the world. I think it's something that you're trying to keep. It's hard for you because you want things to go smoothly. Is your role to make these things go smoothly. So you have to be the first one to say, "It's okay if it doesn't go."
Mm-hmm. No, that's great. That's a great answer. Chelsea, on your side, any challenges? I guess you touched a little bit on it, but any challenges on the technical side?
Yeah, I mean, we went from supporting 2 offices and a few remote people to 170 remote mini offices inside people's homes, right? So everyone's conditions are different. Everyone's setups are different. I really applaud our IT team for keeping up with it. I really applaud our ops team for all the shipping they've been doing, getting everyone all the equipment they need, making sure that they're set up properly, talking people through any types of issues that they're having with setting things up. We have new people, and we talk them through setting their computer up for the first time ever, getting on all of our networks, making sure all of that works. So all of that takes a little more planning and time. Normally we just have the computer ready to go. You start on day 1, it's loaded up, your project's on there, but now we have to call you up a couple days before and help walk you through all those steps. And some people are more technical than others. Just because you make games doesn't mean you necessarily know how to build a computer. So yeah, there's all those little challenges. And initially, we had to be very careful again with security, making sure we had really great security protocols in place because, as I said, we do have access to a lot of partner data. And so that was really important to us to make sure we did everything we could there to keep all of that data secure. So yeah, I never really thought we'd turn into a shipping company and logistics company as much as we have. That's for sure.
That's great. Thanks a lot for that. Listen, I know we've been talking a lot about COVID and the repercussion of this, but I wanna, I know that in a normal time, some of you have multiple studios at different location. How do you make a remote team collaboration more successful? How do you make that happen? And maybe I can start with Sabrina on that one.
Yeah, I think that's the tricky part, right? In my team, we have people in 3 different countries. And besides that, we work with Share Tech, which is in Sweden. And we have localization in certain other departments in Barcelona. And we have a team in the US as well. I think those teams that were already separate, we always had to use calls. Of course, every once in a while we would travel or they would come over and it would make it easier, but that would be something like once a quarter or once a month or something. It wasn't constant. Now, I think there's a different reality, right? In my view, I felt like collaboration actually, once you get the rhythm, increased because then it doesn't really matter where you are. And of course, everyone is in London, but it doesn't really matter where you are. And we can get support from other game teams as well. So sharing things were even better. We could get developers that work in Pet Rescue Saga, for example, in Malmo, to do a little bit of coding for us here in London because, well, we're all at home and the way we communicate is going to be like this anyways. So I think it increased for us that sense of sharing. And we were able to then, we used to do secondment, which meant that, for example, I'm interested in working in Candy Crush Jelly, and that's in Berlin. So I'm going to go and I'm going to spend 6 months with that team. I'm going to learn something. Then I'm going to come back to my team in London. Now it's much easier for us to do that because we don't have to go through the logistics. So if I want to help the jelly team for a week, I can just help the jelly team for a week. So I think in a way, it changed the way we collaborated. I think we were pretty strong with that already, but because now we literally don't have barriers, everything is online, it opens up new layers of collaboration. That we talked before, the downside of it is that you spend way too much time in video calls. And funnily enough, some people don't like to work from home and they don't like to work in isolation. Like we have these open calls that we do. And I think 7 or 8 people just call, they log in, they're not talking, but they're just working together. You see each other and they're drawing or they're coding, and then all of a sudden someone says something and they chat. It's not a meeting. So and that allows different locations to do exactly the same. It's like a drop-in space that everyone would just come in and work together as if they were in the office. So I think the teams are getting creative, but it allows you to work in different projects that you wouldn't in the beginning while you were physically going to an office and you had to physically be into an office. And I think it also brought us closer to leadership. Like, of course, I'm in London and the president at King is in London, but it makes it easier for me to access other C-levels that are in different locations. It's easier for us to have meetings. We don't have to like fly there for a presentation because now it's all remote anyways. So different ways of working, I guess.
Definitely. Oskar, you were saying earlier that Dontnod is probably opening a studio in Montreal or in Canada. How do you make sure that the team in France and the team in Montreal feels, that they're part of the same team? So again, back to that question about team collaboration, how do you make that successful?
For us, there's something which is really important is the values, and this is something we have in our games. We discussed it just before this panel, and our games are, they have some important themes in them. Life is strange, tell me why, extra. So those values, we also want to. They are, of course, from the creative teams, from the teams which are doing games. It's important for us that they are in, I would say, in a human size, those teams, when they work together, even if they are not in the same location. When we start a game, it's between 5 and 10 people working together. It's easy to do with all the tools we have today, Teams or Zoom or whatever. It's important that they share, something which is emotionally important for them. And if this is the case, in the story they want to bring to the player, the gameplay they want to create, it works. I would say it's not a technical problem, because today it's so easy to talk to people all around the world. What is important is to have a team spirit and values shared by this team to really build the project and to create the game. In French we say pierre par pierre. I don't know, step by step, and create something solid, and then it works. If people share those values, if the work they do means something for them, then I think you have the team spirit to create something strong, and you can do a great game.
That's great. I want to jump to another question, because obviously there was like 3 big topic this year. Obviously, COVID was one. I would say the American election could be another one. But the other big subject was diversity and inclusion in the workplace. It's more and more important now. And I would like to start with Chelsea. Just talk to us about how important it is for your studio, and what you guys are doing around inclusion and diversity.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think luckily now more people than ever have diversity and inclusion at the front of mind. And I wouldn't say it's more important now. It should have always been important. Over the last year, we've definitely put more of a spotlight onto diversity and inclusion and being more more directed with it. We brought on a recruiter to help us. We were doing a lot of initiatives ourselves in trying to find more diverse hires. Speaking at events like this is one of the things I've, to reach an audience of people who have different views and opinions than the people we already have. Inclusion has always been really important to us as well. We did a survey about a year and a half ago, and we did find that people at our studio felt very welcome, felt very included, that we're building that kind of environment. But we were lacking in some diversity. And so that's an area we've really focused on to continue to grow. We also have a diversity and inclusion committee, and they work together to champion different initiatives throughout the studio. They do education. We've done a logo project where we change our logo to champion maybe Pride Month or Mexican American Heritage Month. We've also had them give input on our own IP to make sure that there's not something we're overlooking, even if they're not necessarily on the team. We want to make sure we're bringing in diverse perspectives to look at that. And we just really want to make sure that everyone's voice is heard. We've brought in speakers, we've done implicit bias training, we've done some of, challenging our own privilege training in the committee itself. So it's something we're not going to lose sight of at all. And in fact, in 2021, we've committed, now we've had some of the grassroots efforts, and I've really been championing it. We're going to have a full-time DEI coordinator come on in the new year to really champion and advocate and also be an accountability partner for us in leadership to make sure that we're continuing on the right path.
This is great. Thank you. Thank you for that answer. Dan, on your side, what do you think of diversity and inclusion in a workplace?
I find, not to sound sarcastic, but I find it very funny when people talk about those things now. And I think just what I said, it makes a lot of sense. That is not something that supposed to be important now, always be important. When people say like, diversity in games is an issue, and I was like, yeah, since 1978, the year that I was born. So I grew up with this issue. I grew up with not seeing myself in the games and the movies and the TV that I consume, and not be able to say this is not good because I cannot see myself in it, especially in games when games require you to have identification. It puts you in literally in the skin of the character. It's something that I always felt like it was very important to have. And then 2 years ago when I was in an event, and for my preparation event, just realized that just 2% of, I think 3% of the developers are Black, but the 87% of the players, the Black teenagers consider themselves players. It's like there is such a huge gap there. And it's not just about Black people, it's just about Latinos, it's about women. We all know what it is. I think one of my missions in the game industry is to bring a different voice, but also to bring a different message. The message is like, we don't want your job, we just want to do it with you. So, like, I think it's very important that is this kind of very antagonistic perspective of minorities coming into the game industry. I think I'm trying, in the conversation that I have with devs, and I have to say that all conversations I have, they're very positive, very open, is to say, bringing somebody from a different background just enriches your experience, just makes you create better games, just makes you create games more inclusive, and is not threatening, is an opportunity. So that is that I'm trying to create with my company, but also that I love to see, and I love seeing the development in the companies that I'm in touch with. So it's all very hopeful.
Yeah, no, that's great. This is a great answer. Thank you. Maybe Oskar or Sabrina, maybe if you want to add a word on this before I go to the next question.
Sure, absolutely. I love everything that was said already, and I think it's just gonna sound like oh, I'm gonna echo and just repeat what they said. But I identify with what Dan said. I never really saw myself, and I remember when I was young and I played Tomb Raider, and I was like, oh my god, it's so cool! I want to be her. And it's possible to explore. Like I could be Indiana Jones if I want to, but the reality is, I think I've always felt different and out of place, and I never really felt like I could be somewhere that I was myself. And I think the part of diversity, there are two things that are really important for me. One is if you want to make a product, and if you're in a leadership position, you have to make decisions. And if you want to make the best decisions possible, you need as much information as you can have. And to have as much information as possible, you need different points of view. That's the only way you're going to succeed. My job is to make decisions. I'm a leader of a product, of a team, of a part of the business. I make decisions all day long. But to make the best decisions possible, I need as many voices around me. So I know that I'm covering all the bases or as many bases as I can. So for me is part of making good decisions. And I think at the end of the day, that's all we do, whether we are drawing, we are coding, we are planning, we are testing, we're making decisions all the time. So the more diversity you have, the more info and context you have, and it allows you to have more information to make a call. I think the second one was almost like a breakthrough that I had in the recent years, actually, like almost last year. Throughout my entire life, so I'm from Brazil, so I'm a woman, clearly, and I'm gay. So I almost hit bingo here, like diversity bingo. It was almost there, just missing a little bit of pieces in. But I never felt like I fit. And I always felt like I wanted to be accepted for who I am. So I fought hard to have a voice and people to accept me. Last year, I had like a cathartic moment that I decided that I didn't need to be accepted. I don't want to be accepted for who I am anymore. I want to succeed because of who I am. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to be successful and grow in my career because I'm different, because of the way I think, because of the way I talk, because how I grew up, what kind of family I grew up in, where I lived, and the people I know and people I learned from, decisions I've made, mistakes I've made. That is why I want to succeed. I don't want them to accept me because I think that's the bare minimum. Everyone should be accepted for who they are, and everyone should be themselves when they say no, when they say yes. It doesn't mean that you have to fit a mold. And once I understood that and I was okay with myself, I looked at building teams differently. I try now to bring people that add to my culture. We don't look for a team fit anymore. I don't need to fit anyone into something. I need to add. So we look for a team addition. Every time we interview someone, no matter the level, we always try to say, what can you add? We ask them, what can you add to our culture? What do you bring to the table? What's your superpower? And of course, we want to share the values, and that's important. That's at the core. But we're looking for addition. And once you do that, then you enrich the team and everyone around you. And I think it's pretty much what has been said before. But that's the way I think for me lately, how I've been looking at it. And I agree. I mean, it shouldn't even be a hot topic anymore. And I think it's just, I don't know. I like calling it out, though, because you can always be refreshed on things that are important, right?
That's great. That's great. That's a great comment. So thanks for that. I just want to jump at to say I still have some questions on my side, but I'm going to jump at the same time with other questions in the Q&A. And please, audience, feel free to send your questions. What is the hardest challenge as a leader? The challenge that you face, and how do you make your employees happy and make good games? So that's a question from Xavier. Maybe Chelsea, you can answer that question.
Oh gosh,
Put you on the
that's
spot
a
here.
good question. Really, though, there are different challenges all the time. Kind of like Sabrina said, she makes decisions all day. We face challenges all day long. That's basically what I do. Is I solve challenges, I make decisions, and how do we make people happy? Well, when you have 170 different people who work for you, it's really impossible to make every single one happy in the same way or happy every single day. But we do really try hard to make our employees happy. We've been sending care packages. We do virtual get-togethers. We host listening sessions. We really want people to feel connected to their teams. We really want people to know that we value them as individuals. And I think that makes them happy, knowing that we are listening, that we do care about their perspectives, we care about their voice. It's not just lip service, that one of our core values is people. And I think we really do exemplify that. Yeah, but I know that not everybody likes the same flavor cake. So, that's not going to make everybody happy.
That's good. Dan, can you add on that?
I think just said something that echoes with me about is about the listening part. There is this phrase that said, it doesn't matter if it's yes or no as long as you listen. So many times I'm with my team, and one thing that I learned a long time ago from my time in tech, and I used to run teams of 200, 250 people, is that I'm not trying to be nice, I'm trying to be fair. So and fair can be very tough, and fair can be very nice. It depends on what's best for the company, what's best for the product. I think what I'm trying to do right now is to have a time for each one of my employees, to have a time for, and now I can. I know that most people in Spanish cannot, but now I still can sit with them and say, what is in your mind? What can I help? How can I help you? And sometimes the answer is going to be no. But I still valid because I still listen to what they say. And the other thing is important that people probably don't get sometimes is that leaders make mistakes all the time. We messed up a lot. Sometimes people notice, sometimes people don't. But we notice every time you messed up. So what I say to my team is that I will mess up, but I'm going to be trying to do my best. This I can totally guarantee, but I cannot guarantee that I'm never gonna fail because I probably already did. You didn't notice.
That's great. Thank you. Sabrina, maybe a few words on the challenges and how do you keep your employees happy? Especially on the cake side. That was good.
Yeah, for sure. I think I echo a lot. I loved Chelsea's comment on the cake. I loved it because I have very clear memory that we were celebrating last year, and I got 3 or 4 different cakes from people, and someone said, "Oh, you didn't have red velvet. I'm so upset." But all jokes aside, I think it's a mix for me of what has been said before. Listening is important. And I think when you're a leader, you try to create these expectations and these benchmarks. And, I want to lead by example, and I want to be someone that, is there for everyone. And I want to be able to inspire and give them confidence that I have their backs. But at the end of the day, it's about being transparent and honest, about being approachable, about saying, hey, I don't know how to solve this. Does anyone have an idea? Also about, like I said, sharing how you feel. I do that a lot, which I think it's unconventional, at least the people that have been in my position before. I tell them, hey guys, I'm not having a good day. I'm struggling today. I'm feeling sad, or I'm very tired, or, I'm feeling under pressure. We should maybe relax. Let's take a step back. And that makes me relatable. I think a leader that is relatable gets some sort of trust and direct line with their team. In addition, I think it all bottoms down to recognition. People's happiness is about recognition. So it's not just giving them a raise or a promotion. I think it's much more than that. It's being present, going to certain stand-ups, calling out if something goes well. I know it's very easy for us to say, oh, we need to improve here. This is an opportunity for improvement. We should have done this better. Let's do a retro. Let's do a retro and a wash up to see where did we make our mistakes? How many times, right? Oh, there's an incident in the live build. Let's go back and analyze and assess where did we make a mistake. But at the same time, the sprints don't have, or the releases that don't have any problems, sometimes we just don't talk about it. We just pass through. And that's important to call out as well. So I do make sure that after a team demo at the end of the sprint, when everyone shows their work, that I tell them, this was incredible. I particularly liked this. What did you guys think? What was the highlight? Just type it in the chat, because now we're all remote, right? Or just tell us what was the most interest, and share that recognition throughout. And now, like, okay, we sent a build for QA and he came back with 0 bugs. All right, let's do a team lunch. Everyone order Uber Eats. It's on me. Let's do it. There's different ways, right? Little things that we recognize. And I think that helps a lot with happiness, because I think it's difficult to hire. I find it more difficult to retain. Retain exceptional talent is hard because the market is out there and people are ambitious and they want challenges. So trying to understand how you grow them as well makes them happy, makes them want to stay.
This is great. This is a great comment, and actually brings me to my next question. How do you retain, how do you boost team motivation especially during this period? And would like to ask Oskar about that. I don't know if he heard before, but I think Velvet Cake is a good solution, but go ahead, tell us.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I was disconnected for, I don't know why. Yeah, so I'm just back. So the question is how we retain people in the company. That's really an important question, I think. I talked just before about the values. That's something very important. And again, if people have, if it means something for them to go everywhere to work, every day to work, even if they work from home, but to work on something which is important for them, obviously they will continue to work on it, and then they will, it will be easy to retain them in this case. But it's not the only thing. There are obviously other things which are very important. For us, what we do is to maintain the dialogue with all the employees as much as possible, to allow them to really freely express themselves. For example, we have meetings every week with all the employees on using Teams with the live event. So today we are about 300 people in the studio, but everybody can exchange during this time. It's like 30 minutes every Monday morning. Everybody can talk, everybody can exchange, and we as the management try to answer to the questions. All the employees can ask during this time. So this is, but it's also of course important to keep it in each on each level to be sure that everybody is involved, that everybody care about the what they want to do, and then ask them questions with things like we talked about COVID before. What do you prefer? Do you prefer to stay at home? Do you prefer to work at the office? What is what do you see? What is the best choice for you? And then from this try to find the best solution for everyone, and try to answer to all the problems to people could have, and the wish that they have.
And thanks a lot. And I think we're almost out of time. And I know there's a bunch of questions in the Q&A section, and I hope some of you guys in the panel can answer them. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate this discussion. It was really insightful, and I hope that it helped our audience here today. I just wanted to thank Chelsea, Blasko, again, Dan, Bernardo, Sabrina Carmona, and Oskar Guilbert. And we have a 5-minute break, and we'll be back actually, sorry, you will be going to your breakout session, and then we'll be back later on. So again, to all the panelists, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, well, hey, I'm here, so this is good. Thank you to the god of the technical team here who let me just to let you know that yes, we're gonna have a 5-minute break, but at 4:45 we're coming back for the fireside chat, and we gonna have a great discussion with Aaron Hoffman. So please come back at 4:45. But before that, 4:15, go to the breakout discussion. You're going to see them on the left side of the Pine software. You'll be able to find your breakout session and have some great discussion there. So see you at 4:45. Again, have a great afternoon, and see you soon.